Hey guys, what's going on and welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are going to be recreating Diego Simeone's 352/442. So it's actually two tactics inside of one video for you guys. If you do enjoy these tactic videos, be sure to leave a like below. Let's try and hit 60 likes on this one, and do subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. But let's get into the testing phase of this video. So then guys, this is going to be the testing phase of the Atletico Madrid season, or two seasons actually, because we are going to be testing with purely Atletico today, based off the fact that a lot of the comments were telling me to recreate Atletico's tactics instead of Simeone's. So I pleased everyone, and this time we are going to be doing two tests with Atletico, but one season with a 442, one with a 352. Now, they are very different the way that they line up, as you can imagine, and to be honest, they're different how they line up, but you get very similar sort of outcomes in the sense of they both have got a little bit going forward and are both very defensively solid. But obviously it all depends on different scenarios how you want to line up. Now, the first one we're going to test with is the 442. Now, this one done very, very well. We managed to win the BBVA, or the Spanish division, whatever you want to call it, and also the Champions League, which I will show you on the schedule, because for some reason it's not showing here. We scored 97 goals and only conceded 21. Antoine Griezmann scoring 47 goals, getting a 7.7 average match rating and 20 assists. This guy really did do a lot in this team, and he's such an influential player. João Felix not actually having a great season at all. But in terms of the success this got, it was really, really dominant. Obviously, I know Atletico are a good side in the Spanish division, but Barcelona and Madrid usually do finish above them, especially in this game. We're going to go into the data hub quickly and go to general performance, and as you can see, it is very, very solid at the back. 0.55 conceded per game, which is relative, or very, very good actually, not relatively average. It is really good. And 2.55 goals per game. So you are scoring 2 more goals than what you concede per game. As you can see, the pass completion is relatively high as well in a team which isn't designed to be like a tiki-taka based team, so it's not designed to be elegant and things like that. So to be nearly touching 87% is also very impressive. We go into the schedule because we have got time to look at this completely, because obviously we are only testing with two different well, the same team basically twice, but it was really, really solid, guys, right from the start as well. As you can see, good friendly display right into the division. It was a draw first game, but to be honest, you can expect the odd draw with this system because obviously they're not really the most go out and get sort of tactics. They are quite passive. A 2-1 win against Real Madrid, very good there. A couple of send-ins off. João Felix, how funny that is, obviously on his Chelsea debut as well, as I do love to keep mentioning. Sorry. A couple of 2-1s. As you can see, a lot of the games aren't going to be completely blowouts. They are going to be quite close, apart from this one against Bayern, which was interesting. We do bounce back and get a point there in the group, which we do go on to win, by the way, so it's not all negatives in the Champions League, but a lot of the games are going to be sort of a goal here, possibly a couple of goals. There are a couple of games we do blow out teams here, as you can see. That was a friendly cup final against Newcastle, which we actually won on penalties. But that is the one thing with this tactic, as I am going to talk about a lot when we go over into the tactic actual breakdown phase of the video. I'm going to tell you how you can go more attacking and when I think you should use each variant of this tactic, because obviously Simeone is quite a not complacent, but he is, I don't like to use the word negative because I actually quite like him, but he's quite a balanced manager is the word I'm going to use. He's not going to go into a game too attacking, but also you're not completely just sat back doing nothing. It's quite a fine art to master to get it bang on in the middle, but I do think these two tactics do it very well. As you can see here, we make it a lot of progress in the Spanish Cup as well. Also going to be into quite an impressive display, to be fair, in the actual league. We didn't lose too many games in this entire segment. If we actually go down here, we can see all of these games before we get to a loss. You know, you're talking, it's several months where we don't actually lose a game, and it's only, if I'm right in saying, there's 2 draws in that as well. So majority, or 3 draws, sorry, a lot of it, no, 2 draws actually, being very, very dominated by wins. So it's always a good sign, and the first loss we get is going to be against Real Madrid, which, if there is going to be a team in the league to do it, is going to be them. And then Manchester City as well, with 4-1, not the best result, to be fair, by any means of the imagination, but at the end of the day, it's not too serious because, you know, this leg here, we did obviously win 4, and then the reason why I paused there a little bit was just I'm trying to think exactly how we got through, but I've just obviously clocked that and understood it. I was like, hang on, how did we get through? But that's how we got through there. Then a 0-0 against Barcelona, not a bad result either. Bounce back there with a 5-0. Milan, we actually were quite comfortable in the Champions League. We're going to go down here. Leipzig was super comfortable in the semi-final. And we're going to go down here. And Liverpool, as you can see, in what was a 3-2 win. I'm not very comfortable final. What am I on about? Not a very comfortable final, a dramatic final. So let's go and watch the highlights of that, because I've just seen here, we actually won that in the 94th minute. So that definitely needs to be watched. So then these are going to be the highlights of this Champions League final against what was a pretty much full-strength Liverpool side. They were missing Salah. That's the only real big player they were missing, as Robertson does a great ball through into Elliott, and they do actually go 1-0 up. But to be fair, this game was packed with drama. We do bounce back, kind of a little later on, with Milena down the right-hand side into Correa, who bursts from the man into Felix, who tucks it into the bottom right-hand corner, and he equalises there. However, that's not where the drama stops, because they do bounce back here and actually take the lead again with Thiago driving in the midfield, a wonder ball through into Trent, who's probably going to square it into Firmino. So we actually did find ourselves 2-1 down in the 54th minute, but we bounced back not only to equalise, but also to win it, as you know, with De Paul intercepting in the midfield here. Driving down the right-hand side, a ball across into Antoine Griezmann, who tucks it in, and that made it 2-2. Now, I'm fairly confident we could have probably won this in extra time to penalties, but we didn't need it, as we put a ball in there with Carrasco. Tomiskas tries to clear it into Gomez, who tries to clear it again. Witzel wins the flick on into Correa, who is going to be the goal scorer, who just has a pop from the edge, something which you are going to see quite often in this system. And he beats Alisson and plucks out a fantastic 94th minute winner. And to be honest, it was a game which was actually quite equal. They had a lot more possession, which you can expect, but in terms of shots, it was fairly equal, and I'm pretty, either team could have really won it. But overall, a very, very good season from the 442 variant with this a fantastic Atletico side. Right then, guys, and this is going to be the 352 variant, and to be honest, this one I would actually say is my favourite out of the two. If I had to pick a formation to use the entire season, I'll definitely use this one. Obviously, when you're using this for yourselves, you can flick between both, which makes it probably a big advantage, to be honest with you. Now, the stats we got with this are really impressive, actually. We managed to absolutely dominate the Spanish league, a little bit different this time in the fact that Madrid and Barcelona not as competitive this season. The Super Cup also comes to us against Manchester United, and also the Champions League, which I will be showing you again, because for some reason it's always doing this now, where it's not actually popping up. And Manchester United, which I don't believe what game that is. We didn't play that one. That's going to be, I imagine, some after trophy. That's the UEFA Super Cup, isn't it? Which we haven't actually played yet. But the Liverpool game was going to be, or is going to be, the Champions League, which we will watch after this. But to start with, we'll talk about this. So guys, this is going to be the 352 results, and this one is even more impressive in my opinion. Probably my most favourite one out of the two, but obviously the beauty about not holiday simulating is you can simply download both tactics and use them where you want to, and I'll be talking about how you can get the best out of doing that when we break down the tactic. But to start with, 111 goals scored, 17 conceded, so very impressive, very solid at the back, and also great going forwards. We won the Spanish division, the Super Cup, and also the Champions League against Liverpool, which I will be showing you. Antoine Griezmann again with the most goals with 39. This time it's going to be Jimenez with the highest average match rating. So it's interesting to see a defender in there, just showing that this, it does set up a little bit more defensively. The defenders have got a little bit more to do because you do drop off a little bit more. Yannick Carrasco, actually, who does play at left back in this system, with 25 assists, so very impressive for him. And now we are going to go over, and firstly we'll look at the data hub. General performance, very interesting. So although you do drop off a little bit more, and you do invite a lot more pressure on, we did actually ended up conceding a lot, not a lot less, a little less, 0.10 less, so 0.45 conceded per game with this one, and goals per game sitting at 2.92, so I believe it's actually higher as well, with a very similar pass completion. So if you're going off an actual statistic point of view, this would be the better system, but sometimes that 4-4-2 just looks so much more balanced when you lay out a game, and it's not always ideal to go into every game playing free at the back. Sometimes it's nice to start with that 4 because it's just solid, it looks solid, you got positions covered everywhere, and you're not always inviting pressure on. But overall, a very, very good season from this. And as you can see, we're not going to go over every single result. I'll give you a brief rundown, as you can see here. But the main one is going to be this Champions League final against Liverpool, which was a 1-0 win from Koke, which we will go and look at the highlights anyway. Why not? We'll have a little look. But this one, I will go as far to say, apart from the possession, we did deserve to win based off the XG factor. We genuinely did deserve to win it, and that's 2 for 2 now. Obviously, we matched up against Liverpool twice in Champions League finals, and we won both of them, both by a goal as well. So it does show you a little bit about how this system does play. It does sort of, you know, it might not score the highest amount of goals all the time, but it will get you results, and that's pretty much all that this is made for. It's a great ball into the box. A little flick on from Virgil. Thiago fails to clear. Alisson Becker has a nightmare. And we're seeing this a lot with keepers. Like, I know a while ago they made keepers a lot better, but they're still not to the point where we expect them, in my opinion. Like, they still have a lot of mistakes in them. Alisson Becker, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, doing that, it should not really be happening as much as what I see it. But we'll take it anyway. It was a little bit of a jammy goal, but we'll take it. And that does make us the Champions League winners in back-to-back seasons or back-to-back tests. But we're going to get into your favourite part of the video now, which is actually going to be breaking down two tactics, because we're going to go over the 442 and the 352. But before we do that, guys, please smash the like button below. Let's try and get 60 likes on this one, and tell me what variant you're going to use, or are you going to use both of them? I honestly would recommend using both, and also do subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. So then, this is going to be the 442 variant, and we're going to go over instantly into this. Obviously, we've got two tactics to break down, and then I'm going to tell you where I'd use each tactic and my honest advice on it. So we're going to start off with the 442 on balance mentality. In possession, you want standard, hit early crosses and shoot on sight. Standard, slightly higher, sometimes on the time wasting. This obviously you tweak if and when needed, and mix crosses. In transition, you want to have counter press, counter, distribute quickly and take short goal kicks. Out of possession, you want a lower defensive line and a mid-block line of engagement. More often on the trigger press, prevent your goalkeeper distribution and get stuck in. That is something you do take off if you're getting too many bookings. In terms of the player roles, we're actually going to start with the keeper. Sweeper keeper on defend, no instructions. With this system, you're not going to have a sweeper keeper going out and collecting loose balls, because that is not how we play. The fullback on the right is going to be on support, aim the crosses at the centre, run wide with the ball, get further forwards and stay wider. On the left-hand side is going to be a fullback on attack, aim the crosses at the centre, run wide with the ball, stay wider, cross more often and get further forwards. Two central defenders, both on defend, shoot less often, dribble less and hold position. And on the right-hand side is exactly the same. So it is quite basic with that back line, nothing too special, but you're not really after, you know, fullbacks that bomb forward and, you know, get too involved, because it is quite a defensive layout. On the right hand side, you're going to have a wide playmaker on attack, close down more, shoot less often, dribble more, cut inside with the ball, take more risks, cross less often, sit narrower and roam from position. And on the left hand side, it's going to be exactly the same, and this worked really well for me. So that's why you've got them on exactly the same stuff, because at the end of the day, I'm a person which, if something works, I'm not going to tweak it just because I'm scared that they look the same. If they work well and they both do it brilliantly, they're going to stay. We then have a centre mid on defend, close down more, tackle harder and hold position. And on the right hand side, we've got a central midfielder on support, close down more, mark tight. And now don't be put off the fact that there is just purely central midfielders in this role. Don't feel like it's too basic, because at the end of the day, this tactic is meant to be quite basic. It's the fundamentals of football: defend well and hit on the break at the end of the day. It's nothing too spectacular, but this works really well. Two strikers then, one of them's a deep line forward on support, more of the assister of the team, roam from position, hold up ball, take more risks and move into channels. And next to him is going to be an advanced forward, just a little bit in front of him actually, dribble more, shoot more often and move into channels. And that is going to be the 442 broken down, but luckily with magic we can quickly click this one and bang, we are into the 352 variant. And this is what I would recommend you do when you download both tactics. Simply you can click this and go load tactic, and then you have these numbers at the top. Very helpful, makes it 10 times easier to switch during the game. This one is going to be unbalanced again. In possession, you want to have standard, pass into space, pass and directness, set to standard, a higher tempo, play for set pieces, run at defense and mix crosses. In transition, you want regroup, hold shape, distribute to fullbacks, and that is going to be it for that one. Out of possession, you want a standard defensive line, because when with this system, I did try and play a lower defensive line, but you just get absolutely battered. You need to play a little bit higher when using three at the back, with a high press line of engagement more often, and that is going to be that done. Player roles then, and there are a lot to get through. There's a lot of different roles in this team, as you probably gathered, and we are going to break that down right now. So the goalkeeper is going to be a goalkeeper on defend again. That is purely going to stick, because in no real no idea why we'd ever need a sweeper keeper with this system. It would go completely against the Simone way. On the right centre-back, it's going to be a wide centre-back on defend, cross less often, cross from deep, hold position and stay wider. The central defender is going to be on cover, shoot less often and dribble less. And the left centre-back is a wide centre-back on cross less often, bit of a tongue twister that. Cross from deep, hold position and stay wider. The left back is going to be a complete wing back on attack, aim the crosses at the centre, run wide with the ball, cross from byline, get further forward, stay wider and roam from position. On the right hand side is going to be a wing back on automatic, aim the crosses at the centre and run wide with the ball. Three in midfield now, and it's a nice mixture. We've got a box-to-box on the left-hand side, which in my opinion is always needed in a central three. Move into channels and roam from position on support. We've got a ball-winning midfielder on defend in the middle, the real anchor really, to be honest with you. Shoot less often, dribble less, take fewer risks, hold position and tackle harder. And on the right-hand side, sort of attacker midfielder, we have the Mezzala on attack, dribble more, take more risks, get further forward, stay wider, move into channels and roam from position. And the two up top is going to be exactly the same actually. A deep lying forward on support, roam from position, mark tighter, hold up ball, take more risks and move into channels. And on the left hand side is an advanced forward on attack, dribble more, shoot more often, roam from position, mark tighter and move into channels. Now we are going to talk about how to use these tactics. Obviously you guys can use them exactly how you want, but my bit of advice would be this one here is very weird because looking at it you'd think it's a bit more attacking, and it is a bit more attacking. So I would actually say use this one going into the games where you're slightly more confident the team you're playing. Like we'll cover this one first because this one's got a little less to talk about. If I was to manage, I'd use this one going in against a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, because you're going in with a lot more sort of coverage over the field, over the fielding completely, sorry. So you're going to have a central four, because obviously these do sort of sit narrower as well. So you're going to be a lot more solid in the midfield. You're not going to give away or give up too much possession, and that's a perfect system to find your footing and, you know, sort of set the pace of the game. Now, if you're not getting anywhere with this mid-game, you could easily switch to the 3-5-2 and obviously adapt. That completely changes the way that you're going to be playing. And the 3-5-2 is a little bit more attacking, and also it does defend very well. But this one is probably, out of the two, the more defensive, to be honest, because they sort of, you know, the wide playmakers do sit in and the midfielders drop back as well. And I actually did find myself sort of thinking which one would I use to defend a game, and I probably would go with this one, to be honest. Obviously you can use this one as well, but in my opinion this would be the tactic to use for majority of your games, but when you are going against an absolute powerhouse like a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, or the Champions League, the Man Cities, the Bayerns, do look to play that 4-4-2 to start with. But if you do want to use this all the time, the 3-5-2, because obviously I know it did do better, my bit of advice would be, if you go a goal up, or possibly you want to play for a point, something like that, you could make these fullbacks not as aggressive going forward. You could look to change the mentality to cautious, possibly drop one of these midfielders deep into here, or drop two in here, then have this one sort of centralised here. There's so much you can do with this system, and I do believe both tactics are worth downloading, because the fact you can change the way you're going to play in a simple click mid-game is obviously a big difference. Like with the 4-4-2, you're going to have a wider approach in the fact that these wide playmakers do sit narrower, but obviously they are out wide, and you can select this instantly, and then you're going to have a bit more of a narrower approach with just the wing backs really the ones providing the width. But both of them are worth downloading in my opinion. Obviously I'm going to publish them on FM Scout, and the one I'm going to publish on FM Scout is going to be the 3-5-2. But if you do want to download both of these tactics, guys, just for this one alone, because I know there is two, you can download them from the description below. There's going to be media file links, and you can download the 3-5-2 and the 4-4-2 and apply them both. But that is going to be this video broken down and everything sort of analysed for you guys. If you have enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like on the video, leave a comment below as well what manager you want to see next, and do subscribe to the Josh Daly FM channel. But that's going to be it for me today, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.